This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Want to bring in two people out.
What's going on, freaks? Looks like there was an interesting press conference today. Joran Vandersloot confessed, and man, we're just all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, and the Murder Sheet put out one of the most hypocritical podcasts in human history. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's just so unbelievable. But anyways, make sure you guys can see Cindy. Can everybody see Cindy J in there? We want to make sure. Oh, there you go. There you go. There's Lady Gumshoe said hello. There you go. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be doing a... We'll be playing this press conference. It was pretty crazy. One of them was one of the women that we covered. Hold on one second. Wanted to see this really quick. Yeah, the Karen Vergada. Yeah. So... pretty interesting. Let me try to find, because we actually did a show on it. God dang it, man. It's just unbelievable how things move around on the screen. Just now, let's put it over here. It's Gilgo Beach. That yeah, that was in July. I think we did an entire show just on her, if I remember right, or at least we found some images of some sort. But anyways, you guys, like I say, when I do all these shows, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. We had a horrendous yesterday, actually wiping out any of the gains from the birthday night. So if you'd like to help out the channel during the day show today, that'd be awesome. I think I'm going to come on later this evening. Believe it or not, I'm getting the bivalent COVID booster shot coming up. On my doctor's recommendation this evening at like 7:30, so I was thinking like after that, that'd be great. Yeah. It seems like the people who keep typing in this press conference was wild want people to know that they've seen it, because it's been typed in like 6 times already. Let's see. I'm going to do one last search here for something. I just thought of doing this just now. And I don't know what the deal is. I mean, the murder sheet's out there. What was it? Yeah, like people are flipping me crap out there because I did the 3D model of the crime scene. You know, just individuals, and I actually asked, I actually spoke to someone and said, yes, a family member, 2 of them, And I said, I just wanted to make a model. And they said, sure, yeah, go ahead. Okay, so I got permission to do that. Plus, the, that 136-page document that came out? It described it exactly how it is. So what difference does it make? Why does it matter that somebody, even on Court TV and Barbara McDonald and a whole bunch of other YouTubers did diagrams and designs and everything like that? So why does it matter that somebody else did the same thing? But the 136-page document describes it perfectly. Okay? It's like, what would be... I don't really understand the people. It's like people just look for something to get upset about. It's amazing. All right. I just wanted to look at it. That's what I was going to do. Let me check one last thing, and I'm going to play this. Might have put it back in a... Yeah. But see, when you guys are helping the channel out, you can see up at the top there, this channel has donated $168,600 since January 2020, $46,350 this year. We've given Texas Equisearch $4,850, Black and Missing $2,500, Indigenous Vision $500, IFCJ.org $500, Scholarship $1,500 so far, Project Recovery $1,000. Wounded Warrior $1,500, our DNA Fund $16,500, NICMEC $5,250, RAIN $5,250. So that's the only way that happens is if you guys are supporting the channel on a daily basis. So I noticed that even after my pitch, it's zero. So let's just play the. So I can't find. We did a whole show on Vergata. But it's not there. Thanks, Paulette Leonard. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find where the whole show we did on her. Looking for the folder to read some of the documents. Yeah.
Make sure we have everything.
Okay, I fixed the audio. Audio was one channel, and hopefully I boosted up where you can actually watch the what do you call it? Or hear the questions being asked. It's hard to say. All right, here we go.
Let's make sure we have everybody.
Thanks,
So
Colleen.
before we start, Newsdays said they were late. I don't know if they're here.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, okay, you made it. All right, good.
Cameras
Yeah,
favored.
and there's one other station that was late.
They're here.
And they're here? Okay, so then we don't have to wait. I wasn't going to wait anyway, but, if they step in, we might have to go over a few things. I don't know. All right, when you're ready, you tell me, and I'll tell you I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you did.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're here today because
Thank you, Ellie79.
new information has been...
Now, let me ask you guys something. So a lot of people have seen it, but do you guys... here's what I want to do when we listen to it, to pause it and sort of write down, get it figured out what is being said, so at the end we know what everything, we don't have to go back and listen to it a second time. All right? So I'm going to get a some sort of a little notepad thing open over here. It's pretty interesting, though. It's pretty interesting.
I appreciated the model you did. Haters gonna hate.
Yep, they're gonna hate. That's what they do.
Has arisen in this case from witnesses who were so far unknown. Those witnesses, of which there are 4, have given us statements, 2 of whom have given us affidavits regarding this case, regarding Rex Heuermann.
Here, I'll turn that part on.
And Shannon Gilbert and Karen Vergata. Before I talk about them, first, I want you to be aware that here stands the commissioner, as you know, with me. And up until now, we have not made it known to the public that we have been working together on this case steadily since the time that I came to know Commissioner Harris a year ago, February.
How's that audio? That's pretty damn good.
Till that point, the police department was very resistant to receiving any kind of evidence or information from my office from what I was doing. That all changed significantly when Commissioner Harris stepped in and we began to collaborate. And we've collaborated ever since. That collaboration has had fruit. And that fruit, at least, are the witnesses I'm going to be talking about today, as well as other evidence and information which we have shared together and with the police department, and therefore with the task force. So it is true to say that our cooperation has given rise to more substantial, valuable evidence in the entire case of the Long Island serial killer. So with that in mind, I'm very pleased that Commissioner Harrison has seen fit to open his mind and to do what I'm suggesting has been done, contrary to all those who have come before him. And he's approaching this case in the right way. He's the right man for the job, and he's done his job well. As to the witnesses, as to the evidence, in no particular order of importance, because so much of it is important, I have stood as a beacon as a civilian beacon to the people who are involved in this case to come and talk where they didn't want to approach the police out of fear, out of apprehension, out of in some cases, a natural distaste for the police department because of the work these people were in. So they would then come to me and speak to me, and I would interview them, and we would then cooperate, them, and the police department. And so with that in mind, the first 2 witnesses I'm going to talk about are, both of them are not Suffolk County residents. I should point out that we obtained from these 2 affidavits. Their names will go unmentioned. Their names are blotted out of the affidavits. But the affidavits will be available to you right after the press conference. As to the first one I'll talk about, this is a witness who has every reason to have no bias, no interest in the case whatsoever. She was not a sex worker, is not a sex worker, and instead, back in the 90s, in the 1990s, she was what is known then and now as a swinger. She would have a sex partner, and they would go to certain sex clubs in New York City where they would switch partners with other people of like kind. One of the most important places that they would go was called La Trapeze on West 27th Street in New York, right near Rex Heuermann's office. And this was a notorious place for swapping, for switching partners. Sometimes several hundred people at a time would be involved in this place in its heyday. Its heyday was in the late 90s, right at the time that Karen Vergata is involved in this case.
Carmen.
In this situation, this particular woman was dating a police officer from New York City who was in narcotics, a detective, and they would go to these switchy clubs, these swapping clubs. At a certain time, at or about Valentine's Day of 1996, I believe, the couple.
So it's sort of interesting because 1996 is around the time of those other bodies, you know.
Went to Le Trapeze, and I think it was on the wall at Le Trapeze where an advertisement was placed to go to a house in Massapequa Park for partying, for switching, for swapping. She went with her boyfriend out to Long Island, but before they went, her boyfriend picked up a woman in New York, in the city, who had apparently just gotten out of jail, and she was disheveled and hungry, and she was a sex worker. We don't know the details yet of how he came to know her, but he knew her. And she came in the car with the two of them. They went to Massapequa Park. Before they got there, they stopped at a gas station, and the girl who was with them expressed some apprehension about where they were going and why. That was all wiped out when it was pointed out that he's a police detective, so don't worry, no problem. They ended up going to of how he came to know her, but he knew her. And she came in the car with the
Yeah, so far we have a woman who was dating a police detective in narcotics. They would go to swingers clubs together, and at the swingers club there was a sign that said, "Hey, to swap partners, come to this house in Massapequa Park." And so they decided to go to that house, but before leaving, the detective then picked up a third person who was also a sex worker, who was disheveled and down on her luck, I guess, and was going to take her with them to this house.
Two of them. They went to Massapequa Park. Before they got there, they stopped at a gas station, and the girl who was with them expressed some apprehension about where they were going and why. That was all wiped out when it was pointed out that he's a police detective, so don't worry, no problem. They ended up going to Rex Heuermann's house. In the house was the wife of Rex Heuermann and Rex Heuermann and the other girl. The other girl who we believe to be Karen Vergata. This girl disappears downstairs.
Okay, so is Karen Vergata the one that was down on her luck? Is that what they're saying? Let me see.
It was all wiped out when it was pointed out that he's a police detective, so don't worry, no problem. They ended up going to Rex Heuermann's house. In the house was the wife of Rex Heuermann and Rex Heuermann and the other girl. The other girl who we believe to be Karen Vergata. This girl disappears downstairs at the house. Rex Heuermann disappears. And according to our witness and other witnesses I've talked to, when men are swingers with their partner, very often they switch sexually. They go back and forth between male and female. And so Heuermann leaves the main floor and disappears either into another bedroom or downstairs. It's not clear. And the witness talks to Rex's wife. She doesn't want to have sex like she had expected to occur because our client believes our client is an African-American woman.
Okay, so the African-American woman was dating a narcotics detective, and Carmen Vergata is the girl that they picked up. Wow, hey, thanks, Danielle. Wow, I really appreciate it. What's going on? Yeah, there would be audio there, but I turned off the streamlabs sound effects. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And Heuermann didn't like that.
Okay, so then it was Herman and Vergata went downstairs. And so where was the detective, though, at this point, I guess? So Mrs. Heuermann and a witness who is African American were together, but Mrs. Heuermann didn't want to be with her, she believes, because she is black. Right? Does that sound about right? Okay, just trying to get this where it makes sense.
Ellerup, rather, didn't like that. So there was no sex between them.
Well, his wife knew for sure that he was into sex workers and swingers and stuff.
Was originally planned.
And she was one of them,
Instead,
apparently.
the sex is between Heuermann and the other man. At some point...
So Heuermann and the detective, okay. Heuermann and the detective, the narcotics detective have sex. All right.
The witness goes looking for her partner and is kind of upset that he doesn't emerge.
Yeah.
He emerges, and finally they leave, and kind of in a hurry. But
okay, so we'll just say the witness looks for her narcotic detective boyfriend, and he emerges after having sex with Rex, and they leave in a hurry. Now you wonder, well, what did they do? What happened with Carmen, right?
When they leave, as they're leaving, the witness points out that she could see in the window, looking out, the girl that had come with them.
They could see
And
Carmen in the window.
She says to her driver, her partner, "What are we doing? Are we taking her?" And the partner...
Yeah, so as they were leaving, they could see Carmen in the window, and the witness says to the narcotics detective, "Are we taking her?" Yeah.
Says, "Don't worry, they're just playing a game. She stays there, no problem."
Okay. Narcotics detective says, "Don't worry, they are playing a game." Isn't it? That's so weird to me that he picked up that girl, Carmen, and brought her there. Did he already know Rex Heuermann? I mean, what a strange thing that is. It's perfectly, absolute fit his MO and everything.
With that, the girl runs out of the house naked and is running in front of the garage. And now the witness says, "Hey, shouldn't we be taking her?"
Yeah, so then Carmen runs in front of garage nude, and the witness again asks if they should be taking her.
Something's wrong here, and the driver tells her, "Nah, they're just playing a game, leave it," and they leave. She never hears about the incident.
Hey, thank you very much, Kathy Chapin. I missed that up there. I was reading, but thank you so much.
Again, she distinctly remembers Heuermann. She also had intercourse with Heuermann that same day, and she kind of buries it, forgets about it, until on TV she sees the picture of Karen Vergata, and she recognizes her and said, "That's her."
So So what? Let me see. Hold on. Let me rewind.
She kind of, buries it. Forgets about it. Hey, shouldn't we be taking her? Something's wrong here. And the driver tells her, nah, they're just playing a game. Leave it. And they leave. She never hears about the incident again. She distinctly remembers Heuermann. She also had intercourse with Heuermann that same day. And she kind of, buries it. Forgets about it. Until...
Thank you, WNC Granny. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do it in a way where we all understand it perfectly. Right now, I understand this. I mean, when I watched it the first time, I was like, what? Because this guy's a little, kind of like, oh yeah, and then he sort of comes back and remembers the right wording. So, I mean, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. They think that was Carmen Vargas.
On TV, she sees the picture of Karen Vergata, and she recognizes her and said, that's her, and she recognizes Rex Heuermann.
Vergata, I mean, sorry.
And so she comes forward, and I meet her. I interview her at great length. I also had the police department. We arranged for detectives to interview her. And I found her story. I interviewed her for 3 times for a total of 9 hours. And I found her story to be credible. She also mentioned that Rex would go out in the backyard and started a fire at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in a big barrel that was outside in the back. And she was worried about that, too, that it would attract police. Anyway, she seemed credible. She appears to be credible. And she was willing to sign an affidavit to that effect. And that affidavit...
Yeah, maybe, but let me play that again. Hold on.
She a total of 9 hours. And I found her story to be credible. She also mentioned that Rex would go out in the backyard and started a fire at 1, 2 o'clock.
So he says would go out, implying she'd been there multiple times, but then said started a fire, which is sort of more like a one-time observation.
In the morning in a big barrel that was outside in the back. And she was worried about that, too, that it would attract police. Anyway, she seemed credible. She appears to be credible. And she was willing to sign an affidavit to that effect. And that affidavit will be available to everybody. In the details I've just told you, you will find there. The second witness who's come forward. This woman is not a sex worker, never was. She's not a switcher or swapper. She's not involved in any sexual activities whatsoever. She has nothing to gain by coming forward. She's not looking for a book or money or the usual things that you're hearing about out there. None of that. But she came forward because she's very disturbed about what she knows after she also saw Rex Heuermann on television and Shannon Gilbert. And here is her story. She is a banker by day, and at night she worked extra in Suffolk County as a taxi driver to take care of her family. With a one-parent family. As a taxi driver, she is called from her dispatcher to go to the Sayville Motor Lodge on Sunrise Highway, that infamous place that the commissioner here busted a year ago, and for in Suffolk County as a taxi driver.
What's the name of that
to take
place?
care of her family with a one-parent family.
Sayville?
As a taxi driver, she is called from her dispatcher to go to the Sayville Motor Lodge on Sunrise Highway, that infamous place that the commissioner here busted a year ago, and for prostitution and other illegal activities. She's called to go to that place, and that there's a girl awaiting her who's locked in a bathroom and will come out if she flashes her lights and beeps the horn. And she goes there and does that several times. It doesn't work. But then suddenly a giant man who fits the description of Rex Heuermann, comes out, and he's covering his face with his arms so he can't be seen, and he runs to a van or an SUV right nearby that's parked right there. She continues to flash her lights and beep her horn, and out comes a girl, crying, shaking, very upset, and gets in her car. There they talk for a while, and then eventually they drive to the Ronkonkoma, I believe, Ronkonkoma Railroad Station, so that this girl can go back in to New York City. This girl was a sex worker. She continues to flash her lights and beep her horn, and out comes a girl, crying, shaking, very upset, and gets in her car. There they talk for a while, and then eventually they drive to the Ronkonkoma, I believe, Ronkonkoma Railroad Station, so that this girl can go back in to New York City. This girl was a sex worker who was servicing the big man, and the man had seduced her into coming to Sayville by several times over the telephone, convincing her that he was just a nice man who was going to help and work with her to help her family, her mother, her sisters, and her boyfriend. Shannon has a mother, sisters, and a boyfriend at that time. She had her hair pulled back, and because she often wore wigs.
So this is Shannon Gilbert. Wow. I mean, they're connecting Rex Heuermann to Shannon Gilbert. Well, then that, then that makes the whole Shannon Gilbert situation totally different, you could easily go, wow, it seemed like she got stuck in the swamp, and they even said that it didn't look like there was foul play. But now, is there a possibility? I mean, this is crazy, right?
This girl turns out to be Shannon Gilbert. Now, Shannon is lured into doing this particular tryst, and she's given an envelope, or shown an envelope by the man that looked like it was stuffed full of money. And he tells her, there's $1,000 in there. It's for you and your family no matter what happens tonight. She looks in the envelope when he goes to the bathroom, and it's stuffed with paper. And so she panics and realizes something's wrong.
So this is the story that Shannon told the cab driver. So he gave Shannon an envelope and said, this is for you guys, you to do what you want for your family. And then when he went in the bathroom, let's see that again.
You and your family no matter what happens tonight. She looks in the envelope when he goes to the bathroom, and it's stuffed with paper. And so she panics and realizes something's wrong. So she goes in the bathroom, and he had become very aggressive, very angry. She goes in the bathroom, locks the door, and calls to get a cab. And that's how she comes out.
Wow,
they
crazy.
speak for over an hour. So the driver knows her well and notices that she has a drooping eye, which is characteristic of Shannon. And also a characteristic of her family, by the way, going back for a generation or two. And
I know, now you kind of want to listen to that 911 call again. I think I have it somewhere, but I don't know.
So she notices that, and it helps her to remember Shannon when she sees her later on. That's the first part of the story. It doesn't end there. This is part two. Several days or weeks later, it's not clear, and this is all occurring in the fall of 2009. This is all occurring. The driver gets another call from the same dispatcher and says that there's a man named Matt.
Hey, thank you.
Leans in and then jumps in the back seat
Hold on.
rises between the bar. He would be at a bar that was there. There's a man named Matt.
Okay, that's what I know. All right, hold on a second. Thanks, Vintage Mom of 3. Let me try to find this really quick. I don't want to miss what they're saying. I kind of do that sometimes. Shannon Gilbert 911. Yeah, I actually have that somewhere. I just can't. Wait, full there it is right there.
Hello? Yeah. Do you need the police?
I don't know if you guys want to listen to that one after this, but there we go. There it is. And this is from the Suffolk County Police Department. So let me grab this a different way. This is available. Hold on. Might take a second here. And I'll rewind a little bit just to kind of flow into what we're... Browse, and there it is. Okay. Download. Got it. All right, so maybe we'll take a listen to that again now. It's pretty crazy.
The driver gets another call from the same dispatcher and says that there's a man named Matt. The driver gets another call from the same dispatcher and says that the...
Let me just rewind a little bit more because I want to see, this is kind of important.
For Shannon when she sees her later on. That's the first part of the story. It doesn't end there.
Yeah, so this is the same night, I think, here.
This is part two. Several days or weeks later, it's not clear, and this is all occurring in the fall of 2009.
Yeah, okay.
This is all occurring. The driver gets another call from the same dispatcher and says that there's a man named Matt who she's to pick up right off of exit 59 in the expressway, and he would be at a bar that was there by, I guess, Ocean Avenue, somewhere over there. She goes...
A second. This is crazy.
The driver gets another call from the same dispatcher and says that there's a man named Matt who she's to pick up right off of exit 59 in the expressway, and he would be at a bar that was there by, I guess, Ocean Avenue, somewhere over there. She goes there, pulls up on a side street between the bar and a house right next to it, and she sees a girl in a window, and then she sees to the right of her a huge man rising up, coming to the car. He's dressed in camouflage, and he leans in and then jumps in the back seat, sits on the edge, and leans over and starts talking to her, and she's watching him very carefully in the mirror. And she recognizes him as the same guy that was at the motel a little while before. And she now knows him to be, she recognizes him from the media as Rex Heuermann.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, but it's a little bit weak right there because what he makes it sound like it was earlier in the evening just by the way he talks, but now we know that it was days later and she recognizes him as the same man, but that's not, if it's just like a week later and there's this huge guy, even though he covered his face on your original sighting of him, it's definitely possible you could recognize him, especially a guy like him. So maybe, so she's recognizing him on this, and then it gets pretty creepy.
He says to her that he wants her to take him on a long trip into the woods. In other words, he changed the destination she had been told, which caused her immediately to become suspicious. And he was very upset, very angry, and he began to dispute with her when she said, "I'm not going on a long trip anywhere." And with that, he gets extremely angry and threatens to kill her and tells her, "I already want to kill you. Just give me a reason." And he had a gun, a handgun. She says, "I'm not going anywhere at this point," and she turns off the car and she says, "You can have the keys, you can have my money, whatever you want, just let me go. I'll let you have whatever you want." With that, her dispatcher is on the radio, and he says out loud, "We see you, we hear you, we can tell who you are," and the man panics, gets out of the car. She's then able to drive away. She encounters a police car coming the other way. She believes that the police officer was called by a 911 caller on that issue. Could have been the girl who was in the house right next door from where she was. But comes the police, driving slowly with his lights off. She tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard with a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer. And she asked him, "Are you a cop?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "From where?" He said, "Brooklyn." With those facts in mind,
Let me get this
out of the car. She's then able to drive away. She encounters a police car coming the other way. She believes that the police officer was called by a 911 caller on that issue. Could have been the girl who was in the house right next door from where she was. But comes the police, driving slowly with his lights off. She tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard with a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer. And she asked him, "Are you a cop?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "From where?" He said, "Brooklyn." With those facts in mind, she tells the police officer who's driving, "There's one of yours back there, and it looks like he's had a bad day. So you better go see what's what." Words to that effect. She let.
So what does that mean? What does that part mean right there? There's one of yours back there. It looks like he's had a bad day. Who's one of yours? What do you mean one of yours? The cop, the other cop, was from way before. It was like, he said days later. I mean, what is he talking about? There's one of yours back there. It looks like he had a bad day. So I think even this guy here is like, what are you talking about? The district attorney there. Via the cops. Well, I don't know what that. I don't know what he's referring to right here.
Slowly with his lights off, she tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard with a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer. And she asked him, "Are you a cop?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "From where?" He
But
said,
what cop? She hasn't talked about any other cop. But what other cop, though? I mean, there isn't another one. She didn't mention another cop.
Said Brooklyn. With those facts in mind, she tells the police officer who's driving, "There's one of yours back there, and it looks like he's had a bad day. So you better go see what's what." Words to that effect.
So did Rex Heuermann pretend he was a cop or something? Or what?
She later on hears from her dispatcher that this man, went into the woods and fired off his pistol twice. And she recognizes him very clearly to be Rex.
Wait, hold on a second.
"There's one of yours back there, and it looks like he's had a bad day. So
maybe she thought it was a cop, the guy with the gun in the back seat.
You better go see what's what." Words to that effect. She later on hears from her dispatcher that this man, went into the woods and fired off.
How does her dispatcher know that the man went into the wood and fired 2 shots? How does he know that? There's not radio sitting in the middle of the woods. You know what I mean? Like, where does that come from?
Off his pistol twice. And she recognizes him very clearly to be Rex Heuermann when she sees him. So she's given us this affidavit as well. There's a pattern that's developing here of Rex Heuermann being somebody who tracks down people and haunts them.
Yeah, I mean, that's true there, but I don't, right, he kind of didn't make any sense right there. No matter how you look at it, like what he was saying, well, hey, one of yours is back there. Well, you must have left out the part of the story where maybe Rex Heuermann told the dispatcher, but you thought you did, that he was a police officer. All right, and then somehow he fires the shots in the woods. She was told by their dispatcher, but how would the dispatcher even know that? Yeah, I mean, up until then it made sense, but that whole section there made no sense at all.
And Shannon Gilbert would therefore be no exception. Now, the third witness has not.
That's not. You missed it. Tamara's favorites. That's not what I was saying. The cop that he drove by. Let me hear that again. Maybe we can just try this again. Maybe that's the lanyard he was referring to, but he didn't word it correctly.
And she turns off the car, and she says, "You can have the keys, you can have my money, whatever you want, just let me go. I'll let you have whatever you want." With that, her dispatcher is on the radio, and he says out loud, "We know, we see you, we hear you, we can tell who you are," and the man panics, gets out of the car. She then able to drive away. She encounters a police car coming the other way. She believes that the police officer was called by a 911 caller on that issue. Could have been the girl who was in the house right next door from where she was.
Oh, I bet that might be what it is. That might be what it is. That she saw a lanyard on Rex Heuermann, so she told the cop, hey, so it wasn't the cop driving by that had Brooklyn on it. He may have remembered seeing the Heuermann individual wearing, and by the way, thank you up there to Lane Dune and Phony Pin.
But
I don't know if he worked
comes
it
the
well,
police driving slowly with his lights off. She tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard.
Okay, see, that's where he loses. It's really poorly worded right there. He tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard, but it makes it sound like he's still talking about the officer in the car, right? But he's talking about Heuermann. Okay, so there you go. She recognized Heuermann was wearing a Brooklyn lanyard, and witness thought he was an officer. She tells the officer that one of yours is back there and having a bad day or something. Okay, yeah, there we go. I guess that makes sense. So thanks for getting me on the right track of thinking up there. Right, yeah. So, I think Tamara's favorites is right.
With a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer.
Okay, so right there he's talking about Rex Heuermann, not the individual driving, but he didn't distinguish it well enough when he switched. It's like...
Gets out of the car.
So listen to that part again.
She's then able to drive away. She encounters a police car coming the other way. She believes that the police officer was called...
He does say she tells him a story.
By a 911 caller on that issue. Could have been the girl who was in the house right next door from where she was. But comes the police, driving slowly with his lights off. She tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard.
Right, the man. So what he should have said was, and the man that she had just got out of her car had on a lanyard. But it sounds like he's talking about the cop that's driving by, the way it's worded.
Lanyard with a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer. And she asked him, "Are you a cop?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "From where?" He said, "Brooklyn." With those facts in mind, she tells the police officer who's driving, "There's one of yours back," slowly with his lights off. She tells him the story, and the man had on a lanyard with a placard of some kind, as if he were a police officer. And she asked him, "Are you a cop?" And he said, "Yes."
Oh, so Heuermann said that he's a cop. Let's see. Heuermann said that he was a cop from Brooklyn. All right, there we go. Got it.
Said, "From where?" He said, "Brooklyn." With those facts in mind, she tells the police officer who's driving, "There's one of yours back there, and it looks like he's had a bad day. So you better go see what's what." Words to that effect. She later on hears from her dispatcher that this man, went into the woods and fired off his pistol twice. And she recognizes him
I don't understand that part. Does anybody know how her dispatcher would know that he shot a gun in the woods twice?
clearly to be Rex Heuermann when she sees him. So she's given us this affidavit as well. There's a pattern that's developing here of Rex Heuermann being somebody who traces down, tracks down people and haunts them. And Shannon Gilbert would therefore be no exception. Now, the third witness has not given a statement yet. The third witness contacted me from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, And that witness clearly recalls being picked up. She was a street walker. She gets picked up by Rex Heuermann. He in Queens, and he drives, I think, near the big center there in Queens, and he drives her into a park in Flushing, where he makes her keep her head down at all times, commit oral sex, and then he has a pistol in his hand and tells her, "Get out of the car or I'm going to kill you. And don't do anything except what I tell you to do or I'm going to kill you." So she gets out of the car and he tells her, before she does, he tells her, "I want you to pick up another person, another customer." She gets out of the car and immediately pulls up another SUV and a man driving it, an African-American man. And the guy that picks her up is white.
Wasn't, see, now what does that mean right there? What does that mean? Anyways, the Shannon Gilbert's driver was black, right?
Don't do anything except what I tell you to do or I'm going to kill you. So she gets out of the car and he tells her, before she does, he tells her, "I want you to pick up another person, another customer." She gets out of the car and immediately pulls up another SUV and a man driving it, an African-American man. And the guy that picks her up is white. And she gets in the other guy's car. And the driver, Rex...
Man, does anybody understand that one at all? Huh? Yeah, well, what's weird is, I was thinking about earlier when I was watching this, was that Rex Heuermann, you know, the Asian male on Gilgo Beach. I don't know what you guys are talking about in there. He looks Asian or anything like that. But I don't know what this guy's saying right now. He got picked up by, there's a black guy driving, so was there a white person in the car and it was just a black guy driving it? Maybe make sense out of that? Oh, he was Asian. Okay. Are you sure about that? I guess he was. I don't know, that doesn't ring a bell for some reason. Anyways, Get out of the car, do what I say or I'll kill you. I want you to pick up another customer. Immediately, another man pulls up. The man driving is black, he said. So let's try to get through this again.
Don't do anything except what I tell you to do or I'm going to kill you. So she gets out of the car.
She gets out of the car.
And he tells her, before she does, he tells her, "I want you to pick up another person."
I want you to pick up another person, meaning you want another John to pick you up.
Another customer. She gets out of the car and immediately pulls up another SUV.
So she gets out of the car, and almost immediately another SUV pulls up.
And a man driving it, an African-American man.
So a man driving the SUV is black. This is crazy. Man driving SUV is black. Okay.
And you
can tell his mind is confused here.
The guy that picks her up is white.
The guy that picks her up is white. So the driver, though, is different then, right? I mean, maybe that's what he's saying. The John is white.
And she gets in the other guy's car.
Oh, so she gets in the black guy's car. She gets in the car, SUV, I guess.
And the driver, Rex Heuermann, follows the car. They go. Finally, get out of the car because she panics and pulls the wheel because she sees a cop car coming. So the cop sees them go jaggedy off the road and the cop stops them. The cop then goes, "Don't do anything except what I tell you to do or I'm going to kill you."
Here.
So she gets out of the car and he tells her, before she does, he tells her, "I want you to pick up another person, another customer." She gets out of the car and immediately pulls up another SUV and a man driving it, an African-American man. And the guy that picks her up is white, and
thanks, Sybil.
she gets in the other guy's car, and the driver, Rex Heuermann, follows the car. They go. Finally, get out of the car because she panics and pulls the wheel because she sees a cop car coming.
So when he says finally get out of the car, because she panicked. Well, so the story wasn't told right there. Heuermann follows in an SUV. Witness panicked and saw a cop car coming, so pulled the wheel to get the cops' attention, and they were pulled over. Man, I'm a pretty fast typer now. Hey, thank you so much, Cal3.
So the cop sees them go jaggedy off the road, and the cop stops them. The cop then goes back, talks to Rex and the other driver who gets out and walks back. The cop comes back and tells her, lady, if you want to make a complaint, you have to go to the precinct, and drives away. That's her story. She also has no reason. She refuses to come forward. She refuses to have herself identified. I know her name. I know her address. I've given it to the police. They're aware of it, and presumably they're investigating it. You see the pattern. There's a pattern of a guy who likes to play kind of sporting games with the sex workers, chases them, haunts them.
I think it could turn out that Rex Heuermann is like one of the most prolific serial killers in American history when this is all said and done.
Hunts them. That's what we're looking at here, we believe, anyway. The fourth witness, and I'll finish on that, she comes from another state, and she's contacted me as well. I have very lengthy notes and recordings of what we discussed. She was a sex worker for many years, back in the time when all of these killings were occurring, and she serviced Rex Heuermann. She said that she would service Rex Heuermann over 20 times, and that he was a serial user of sex workers. He would sometimes have them come two at a time to his house, and his wife was home upstairs, and in one instance got very angry at one of the sex workers because the wife believed that the worker had stolen an iron for ironing clothes, and had it in the car with the driver. So the driver had to get out. Everybody had to search the car. There was no iron. But the wife knew about it and knew about, obviously, what was going on in order for that to happen. So she says that in her experience with Heuermann, he was never impolite. He was always nice. He was always funny. He treated her well, and there was no violence. But he certainly had contact with Rex constantly for a period of several years. That's as much as I'm able to tell you. There's plenty of other new evidence, which I think it will take too long at this press conference to discuss. There's plenty of new other evidence that's similar in kind and consistent with the kinds of things that I've just described to you. So with that thought, I'm hoping that the police department will continue along with the task force, that they will continue to look into these things, investigate them thoroughly, make the synapses that haven't been made so far, connect them up, and connect the dots, as it were. And I think we're getting to where we want to go.
Yeah. So.
Lastly, I am still working on this case. Today I took Joseph Brewer's deposition, the John for Shannon Gilbert. I just finished it and came here. I'm still actively pursuing this case on my own, as well as cooperating with the police department and the task force. But for people out there who have information and are afraid to come forward to the police, they can talk to me. They can reveal whatever they want. I will reveal it to no one. I reveal these things with their permission, the things that I told you about. But anybody else that still has information, I'm available. My door is open. My phones are open. I can help you. Thank you.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these cases, the wives don't know. So when people start attacking... See, here's the thing. I don't mind that people attacked him early on when he said the wife's involved, because he didn't produce any evidence, and without the evidence, that's it. I mean, so when people just start going, oh, the wife knew, the wife knew, the wife knew, ooh, you don't know if the wife knew. But it's possible now that the wife did know, right? So for me, that doesn't bother me when people get upset. I often criticize the people that do that kind of stuff. You know, I don't really like it. It's always, people always like, oh, the family, they had to have known, they had to. Well, sometimes they don't, you know. Like, look at Dennis Radar, you know, Rader, nobody knew anything. Are you sure, Gray? Are you sure?
The information presented about Karen Brigada. She's the first known victim of the serial killer.
Carmen Brigada. Here, I was going to read this. So here's Carmen. I don't know why they keep calling her Karen. Maybe she switched it to that or something. But this was the one article that I found in the paper back then. It says, the decomposed body of an unidentified woman, her ankles bound with cord. Does that sound familiar? And a cloth tied over her face was discovered near the Meadowbrook Parkway by a motorist who alerted police late Sunday. Officials said yesterday. Investigators believe that the woman was killed at another location and dumped by the parkway 2 to 4 weeks ago. State Police Captain Walter Heesh said. The body was found in a wooded area about 30 feet off the side of the parkway, a mile south of Merrick Road. Police said the motorist had pulled over to the side of the road while on the way to the beach with his family. This is definitely a homicide. There's no doubt about it, he said, adding that it did not appear to be a professional hit. Authorities were trying to determine the cause of death yesterday. He said that because the body was badly decomposed, officials could not determine whether the woman had been sexually assaulted. Police are checking missing person records to see if the woman's description matches that of anyone reported missing and are trying to match her fingerprints. Right now, he said, the thing is trying to find the identity. Police described the victim as being 25 to 35 years old, 110 to 140 pounds, and between 5 feet and 5'4". So that's right in Heuermann's range there. They said she had a pointed chin, a prominent nose, and a brown ponytail. She was wearing a blue miniskirt and gray tank top. So that was when they found her. You might ask how I found that article without even having the name in it, but you just kind of have to dig around a little bit. Let's see. So I think... where the hell was that? I think it was right around... Was it right there? How do you spell that? There. Vergata. Oh man, I lost it. No, there's Vergata. Is this underneath the Heuermann? Yeah, there it is. Oh, got a skull. Is that right? Hold on a second. I'm not sure why it said Vergata skull, but maybe that was true. I wouldn't have seen the pointed chin though. Wait, is there a different name? Is this Karen? What is her name? Because how come I keep having this Karen Vergata, legs and feet? You know, like what's going on with that? 1996 even. And that was about that time. So this is Karen Vergata. That's a different person than Carmen. Oh, okay, that's Vergata and there's, wow, that's crazy. So there's a Carmen Vargas and Karen Vergata. So Karen Vergata is the one where there was a skull found. Man, what are the odds of that? Carmen Vargas, Karen Vergata. You know, it's like... Alright, so there are two different people there. The one up here, the Carmen Vargas, is the one that I just read to you. And Heuermann lived right next to where she was found. So maybe that one will be tied in later. Karen Vargas had the one where there's her skull was found separately. Although, see, that doesn't make sense, because how did they know she had a pointed chin when they found her body when it's separated? I don't know. I guess we'll have to figure that out. Back to this.
Does this lead you to make Rex Heuermann the prime suspect in her murder in 1996?
You know, I don't want to make Rex Heuermann the prime suspect. I will say this, and I'll share this over and over again. The creation of the task force got us into a good place of being able to identify Rex for 3 of the sex workers that were discovered, and we're looking very good for the 4th one. But we also added 2 more investigators to the task force to take this type of information in and to pursue it, to follow it, to see if this is credible. That's very important, and that's why people don't understand. When I first came into this position, I sat down with John Ray, myself and the members of the task force, to have that conversation about information that he may have, and let's make sure we're putting a dragnet out there regarding any information that's coming to us. That's why I'm going to continue my partnership with John, and if people have a reluctancy to come forward to law enforcement and they want to go to John Ray, then it's important that we take this information and then we follow forward with furthering the investigation. So,
Do you believe this is credible?
it's still an ongoing investigation, so I'll leave it at that. But once again, is this: we have the information, we're working it, and we'll see where it leads us down the road.
And you're saying to us earlier that you're going to leave no stone unturned, and the fact that there are possibly more affidavits that you can use to possibly find future victims.
Absolutely, and that's a very good question, and that's why I stand here today with John Ray. If people don't want to use our Crime Stoppers hotline, and they feel a lot more comfortable going to John Ray or anybody else, I want to make sure that people understand that we have a job here as law enforcement, as the Suffolk County Police Department, to make sure we investigate every single complaint or interest in this case. Make sure that we look under every single stone to see if there is any connection to Rex Heuermann, or if there is a connection to somebody else that may be involved with the bodies that were discovered on Ocean Parkway.
Commissioner, have you heard about or known about these affidavits before today? What's the time frame?
So we could go about a month and a half, depending on 2 months, depending on each one. For one of the affidavits, I was actually sat down with the person myself. That just shows you my vested interest in it. Listen, this is something that's very important to me. I'm going to continue to grind to make sure anybody that had an interaction with our defendant, Rex Heuermann, is held accountable in this case.
Which witness did you sit down with? Number 1 or number 2?
The delivery cab driver. The taxi cab driver, yeah.
That's the one with Shannon Gilbert.
That's the one with Shannon Gilbert, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
What year was that? 2007 or 9? 2009.
The taxi driver is 2009, the fall of 2009, and she is not absolutely certain of the time frame, but that's where it approximates.
And that's where, Mary, that's where we're going to make sure we're doing our job and trying to nail down time frames, look at radio runs and other things that can help us kind of pinpoint if there is any credibility to these complaints that came forward.
And the commissioner did send 2 detectives to interview the other witness with me, which we did already and at length.
John, or did any of these witnesses explain why they didn't come forward before now?
Yes.
Was it immediately when they saw Rex Heuermann's picture?
Yeah, it was certainly a question we had to ask. We have to ask many.
Thank you, Patricia Galindo. They're asking why people didn't come forward.
Any questions to test credibility. And I'm not saying that people would necessarily lie, although they might, but that they don't remember or they mix up facts with other situations. We had to test all of those things. And so we had to test that too. And in the one case with the witness with the swapping, it bothered her that they left behind this girl, but she had no other reason to think anything of it until she saw this. She actually broke down. She couldn't believe it when she saw the picture and knew that girl. And that happened there. With the taxi driver, the taxi driver did report it. The taxi driver, back when this originally happened, she talked to her, her cousin was a cop. She spoke to her family. She spoke to other taxi drivers. She told a lot of people about it. And then she did contact Crime Stoppers and report it and actually talked to them twice, but nobody called her back. So that's long before the commissioner was involved. So she did come forward and she said, well, you know, when it got reactivated, the issue, then she called me. Okay.
Find the witness too credible.
That's Karen Vergata.
That way, Commissioner.
So, you know, the way Joran explained it, and you got to just kind of take this into context, she doesn't have a stake in the game. She's a cab driver at night, had a profession during the day. You know, she's not necessarily from this neighborhood. So, you know, little things like that kind of piqued my interest. And once again, is this, you know, why did she come forward, and her role and story and everything? It's something that we need to take a closer look at, and we need to make sure we're investigating it. And that's why the task force will stay in place. That's why we added more manpower to it. We're going to continue to work with our law enforcement partners and see if there's any nexus to our defendant, Rex Heuermann, or once again, like I said before, if there happens to be another subject out there, we'll look at them as well and see if we can hold them accountable.
And it was reported that you guys were honing in on Valerie Mack and Karen Vergata. In this case, does this add Shannon Gilbert to the list of those two women that you're intensely looking at, you know, their personal lives and whereabouts?
Well, it's all the bodies that were discovered. Let's not rule out Peaches, the Tyler, the Asian male. You know, those were the names that I shared with Tony, but it doesn't mean that we're not continuing to look at all the bodies that were discovered there. But the ones right now that John has, when it comes to Ms. Vergata and when it comes to Ms. Gilbert, are the ones that we're going to take a closer look at and see if they're connected to our defendant.
Any update on the fourth victim, Megan?
Yeah, so I know our district attorney should be...
So I wonder if they're re-looking at Shannon Gilbert, because the previous people are the ones that said, yeah, it looked like it was just... But now I think everything's back on the table again.
Doing an announcement real soon, and he'll keep you advised regarding if there's a nexus to the DNA that was recovered, and if there is a match.
So this witness one said that Rex had sex with both the woman, you think that was Vergata, and this other man, an off-duty detective. So knowing that indicates he's probably potentially bisexual. Does that make him more of a leading suspect in an Asian male?
Listen, anything is possible, but once again, is this...
I've always said the Asian males are like 100%. I mean, it's like, look at this. So you're right here with Costello, Bartholomew, Barnes, Waterman, and the Asian males right there. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, it was just some other random bullshit, and it was a cross-dressing Asian male. Okay, so whether or not Heuermann, so Heuermann's obviously at least bisexual, right? So he, it's also possible he didn't know that the Asian male, probably a small in stature person, was a male. Who knows? But anyways, this is one of his victims. I would bet money. I mean, look at this. For example, Waterman is precisely in the middle of the Asian male and Costello. All right, there just happens to be two more to the left here. Let's do a poll here. Is the Asian male one of Heuermann's? Yeah, so there you go. There's your poll question. I think the no's are just people who don't want it to, they're going to be the contrarians. They're the trolls that show up on the show just to, so it's just some other random killer just happened to be out there and threw a body just right down the road from the other bodies. Hey, come on, think through it a little bit. Think through it. What do you mean? It doesn't make him a troll, Gray. I don't know. Here's what it is, though. I do have these trolls that watch every show, and they'll always mark contrary to any logic or reasoning. Doesn't matter.
This is something that we need to investigate, and I'm sure everybody can understand. There's a judicial process still going on.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Ongoing.
I've gone over this a million times. We can keep going down the road. Jessica Taylor was right there. Valerie Mack, the toddler, right next to her. And then Shannon Gilbert was over here. The Carmen Vergata's skull apparently was found over here. So I don't know how they're coming up with this. So Carmen Vargas and then Karen Vergata. Man, that's going to be hard to unsee, I guess.
Investigation, now that this information has been provided to us, I can only share but so much. But I will reassure everybody here, we are not done with this investigation. I want to make sure that that's very clear.
John, can I ask you is Shane Burke involved in any of this?
Well, I can't say he is, and I can't say he's not. He certainly reactivated interest in himself by what he did up on Bald Hill, which, by the way, you probably know that it's a notorious place for men picking up other men. I've represented several clients from that hill for that very same thing, and Burke was a street smart cop. He's even noted in his disciplinary record for being extremely streetwise. He would have known what goes on up on that hill.
To the DNA that was recovered, and if there is a match.
So this witness one said that Rex had sex with both the woman, you think that was Vergata, and this other man, an off-duty detective. So knowing that indicates he's probably potentially bisexual. Does that make him more of a leading suspect in an Asian male?
Listen, anything is possible, but once again, this is something that we need to investigate, and I'm sure everybody can understand. There's a judicial process still going on. There's ongoing investigation. Now that this information has been provided to us, I can only share but so much. But I will reassure everybody here, we are not done with this investigation. I want to make sure that that's very clear.
John, can I ask you is Shane Burke involved in any of this?
Well, I can't say he is, and I can't say he's not. He certainly reactivated interest in himself by what he did up on Bald Hill, which, by the way, you probably know that it's a notorious place for men picking up other men. I've represented several clients from that hill for that very same thing, and Burke was a street smart cop. He's even noted in his disciplinary record for being extremely streetwise. He would have known what goes on up on that hill, but he also would have known the risk he was taking, and he took it anyway. Burke, the risk taker, emerges, first of all, and second of all, Burke, who is interested in men, emerges, which is very much consistent with what I had said for years, that he was cross-dressing when he was with some of my clients, including Loretta Rickenbacker, and that he had that other interest. Do those other interests matter? Sure they do. If you're going to look at the old police department and see why did Burke get to where he went so easily? Could it be that there's more sexual improprieties on higher levels than we originally thought? It's something that should be looked into. We don't know.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Clarification on the second witness, the cab driver. Are you saying that he contacted police initially when Shannon Gilbert went missing, when her picture emerged in the media, when she first went missing?
No.
Did she only contact you after seeing Rex Heuermann and Shannon Gilbert's face on TV?
Yes, she contacted me after she saw Rex Heuermann on TV and Shannon Gilbert. and then she contacted me, and then I went to see her, and she's not from this state.
Okay, so she claimed that she never saw Shannon Gilbert's face on TV or in the media prior to this year.
That I don't know. I can't say she claimed that. I honestly don't remember whether I asked her that or not. All right, sorry.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks, everybody. We give you the affidavits from witnesses who were so far. If they step in, we might have to go over a few things. I don't know. All right, when you're ready, you tell me, and I'll tell you I'm ready. Good afternoon, everybody. We're here today because new information has arisen in this case from witnesses who were so far unknown. Those witnesses, of which there are 4, have given us statements, 2 of whom have given us affidavits regarding this case, regarding Rex Heuermann and Shannon Gilbert and Karen Vergata. Before I talk about them, first, I want you to be aware that here stands the commissioner, as you know, with me, and up until now, we have not made it known to the public that we have been working together on this case steadily since the time that I came to know Commissioner Harris a year ago, February. Up until that point, the police department was very resistant to receiving any kind of evidence or information from my office from what I was doing. That all changed significantly when Commissioner Harris stepped in and we began to collaborate. And we've collaborated ever since. That collaboration has had fruit. And that fruit, at least, are the witnesses I'm going to be talking about today, as well as other evidence and information which we have shared together and with the police department, and therefore with the task force. So it is true to say that our cooperation has given rise to more substantial, valuable evidence in the entire case of the Long Island serial killer. So with that in mind, I'm very pleased that Commissioner Harrison has seen fit to open his mind and to do what I'm suggesting has been done, contrary to all those who have come before him. And he's approaching this case in the right way. He's the right man for the job, and he's done his job well. As to the witnesses, as to the evidence, in no particular order of importance, because so much of it is important, I have stood as a beacon as a civilian beacon to the people who are involved in this case to come and talk where they didn't want to approach the police out of fear, out of apprehension, out of in some cases, a natural distaste for the police department because of the work these people were in. So they would then come to me and speak to me, and I would interview them, and we would then cooperate, them and the police department. And so with that in mind, the first 2 witnesses I'm going to talk about are, both of them are not Suffolk County residents. I should point out that we obtained from these 2 affidavits. Their names will go unmentioned. Their names are blotted out of the affidavits, but the affidavits will be available to you right after the press conference. As to the first one I'll talk about, this is a witness who has every reason to have no bias, no interest in the case whatsoever. She was not a sex worker, is not a sex worker, and instead, back in the 90s, in the 1990s, she was what is known then and now as a swinger. She would have a sex partner, and they would go to certain sex clubs in New York City where they would switch partners with other people of like kind. One of the most important places that they would go was called La Trapeze on West 27th Street in New York, right near Rex Heuermann's office. And this was a notorious place for swapping, for switching partners. Sometimes several hundred people at a time would be involved in this place in its heyday. Its heyday was in the late 90s, right at the time that Karen Vergata is involved in this case. In this situation, this particular woman was dating a police officer from New York City who was in narcotics, a detective, and they would go to these switchy clubs, these swapping clubs. At a certain time, at or about Valentine's Day of 1996, I believe, the couple went to La Trapeze, and I think it was on the wall at La Trapeze where an advertisement was placed to go to a house in Massapequa Park for partying, for switching, for swapping. She went with her boyfriend out to Long Island, but before they went, her boyfriend picked up a woman in New York, in the city, who had apparently just gotten out of jail, and she was disheveled and hungry, and she was a sex worker. We don't know the details yet of how he came to know her, but he knew her. And she came in the car with the two of them. They went to Massapequa Park. Before they got there, they stopped at a gas station, and the girl who was with them expressed some apprehension about where they were going and why. That was all wiped out when it was pointed out that he's a police detective, so don't worry, no problem. They ended up going to Rex Heuermann's house. In the house was the wife of Rex Heuermann and Rex Heuermann and the other girl. The other girl who we believe to be Karen Vergata. This girl disappears downstairs at the house. Rex Heuermann disappears. And according to our witness and other witnesses I've talked to, when men are swingers with their partner, very often they switch sexually. They go back and forth between male and female. And so Heuermann leaves the main floor and disappears either into another bedroom or downstairs. It's not clear. And the witness talks to Rex's wife. She doesn't want to have sex like she had expected to occur because our client believes our client is an African-American woman. And Heuermann didn't like that. Ellerup, rather, didn't like that. So there was no sex between them, as was originally planned. Instead, the sex is between Heuermann and the other man. At some point, the witness goes looking for her partner and is kind of upset that he doesn't emerge. He emerges, and finally, they leave, and kind of in a hurry. But when they leave, as they're leaving, the witness points out that she could see in the window, looking out, the girl that had come with them. And she says to her driver, her partner, "What are we doing? Are we taking her?" And the partner says, "Don't worry, they're just playing a game. She stays there, no problem." With that, the girl runs out of the house naked and is running in front of the garage. And now the witness says, "Hey, shouldn't we be taking her? Something's wrong here." And the driver tells her, "Nah, they're just playing a game. Leave it." And they leave. She never hears about the incident again. She distinctly remembers Heuermann. She also had intercourse with Heuermann that same day. And she kind of buries it, forgets about it, until on TV she sees the picture of Karen Vergata, and she recognizes her and said that's her, and she recognizes Rex Heuermann, and so she comes forward, and I meet her. I interview her at great length. I also had the police department. We arranged for detectives to interview her, and I found her story. I interviewed her for 3 times for a total of 9 hours, and I found her story to be credible. She also mentioned that Rex would go out in the backyard and start a fire at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in a big barrel that was outside in the back. And she was worried about that, too, that it would attract police. Anyway, she seemed credible. She appears to be credible. And she was willing to sign an affidavit to that effect. And that affidavit will be available to everybody. In the details I've just told you, you will find there. The second witness who's come forward. This woman is not a sex worker, never was. She's not a switcher or swapper. She's not involved in any sexual activities whatsoever. She has nothing to gain by...
All right, anyways, I had to take that call. It was kind of like related to one of the, the Delphi case. So anyways, I'll tell you what the witness is in my notes that I took here. So here we go. It says, first witness was a swinger. They would switch partners. That's obviously what swingers are. Let's see. They would go to La Trapeze on West 27th Street, right near Heuermann's office. The woman was dating, this witness was dating a police officer who was a detective in narcotics. They would go to these clubs around Valentine's Day, 1996, got to a house in Massapequa Park for switching. They put these little, like a flyer at the bar and said, "Hey, meet us over at this house," and that's exactly where Rex Heuermann lives. She went to Long Island with her detective date to the house, but before leaving, they picked up another sex worker in New York, and they all arrived together. The girl that was picked up expressed apprehension when they stopped to get gas on the way there. And then they went to Rex Heuermann's house. In the house, his wife was the wife of Rex Heuermann, and the other girl, Karen Vergata. Heuermann and Vergata went downstairs. Miss Heuermann and witness, who is African American, were together, but Miss Heuermann didn't want to be with her, she believes, because she was black. Heuermann and the narcotics detective have sex, so he had sex with the narcotic, the male. So then the witness looks for her narcotic detective boyfriend, and he emerges after having sex with Rex, and they leave in a hurry. As they are leaving, they could see Karen in the window, and the witness says that the narcotics detectives, she says to him, "Hey, are we taking her?" Narcotics detective says, "Don't worry, they're playing a game." Then Karen runs in front of the garage nude, and the witness again asks if they should be taking her. Narcotics detective says again, they're just playing a game. Witness sees Karen Vergata on TV and comes forward. Comes forward, Rex Heuermann. Then Rex started a fire at 1 a.m. And this lady also signed a affidavit. So that was something that she remembered. The second one said she was a banker by day and a taxi driver at night. Her dispatch called her to go to Sayville Motor Lodge on Sunrise Highway, a seedy place. A woman is waiting for her. and only would come out if the taxi cab driver, the witness here, flashes her lights. Then a large man comes out and covers his face with his arm and runs to an SUV. She continues to flash and beep her horn, and out comes a girl crying and upset. They talk for a while. Talk for a while, and then she takes her to like something like Runacamo Railroad Station. So this sex worker so she could head back to New York City. She had serviced the big man, convincing her over the phone multiple times that he was just going to help her out. And they believe this is Shannon Gilbert. He gave Shannon an envelope and said, "This was for you to do what you want for your family, no matter what happens." She looks in the envelope when he goes to the bathroom, and it's stuffed with paper. In fall of 2009, the witness gets another call from the same dispatcher, the man named Matt. So this is for a man named Matt, which is likely Rex Heuermann, to pick up right at exit 59 on Expressway, and he would be at a bar. She goes there and picks him up on a side street. She sees a girl in a window, and then a huge man looks in the window and in her car, and then sits in the back seat. She recognizes him as the same man who she saw at the motel a day earlier. He says to her to take him on a long trip in the woods, changing his original destination. The witness said she's not going. He gets her, she's not going. He gets angry and threatens to kill her. He had a handgun. He says, she says, "I'm not going. You can have the keys and my money." Her dispatcher is on. The dispatcher says, "We hear you and we see you. We know who you are." So Heuermann panicked and left. She drove by a police officer going the other way, and she believes the cops was called on that issue, the same issue. She tells the officer the story. She asks if he is a cop. She tells the cop a story, and then the story is that Rex Heuermann was wearing a lanyard, and so she asked Heuermann earlier, "Hey, are you a cop?" And he said yes, he was. So that's why she said there's an officer back there that's not having a problem. Heuermann said that he was a cop from Brooklyn. She tells the officer that one of yours is back there having a bad day. She recognizes him as Rex Heuermann. Is this making sense, everybody? The third witness is a sex worker picked up by Rex Heuermann in Queens. He drives her to a park in Flushing, I guess, makes her keep her head down at all times, and she commits oral sex, gets out of the car and tells her to get out of the car and do what he says or he'll kill her. And then he says, "I want you to pick up another customer." Immediately, another man pulls up. The man driving the SUV is black. The John is white, apparently. She gets into the SUV. Heuermann's following the SUV. The witness panicked and saw a cop car coming, so she pulled the wheel to get the cop's attention, and they pulled over. Cop goes back to Rex and the other driver, and they talk. And the last one is the fourth witness, comes from another state. She was a sex worker for many years. She serviced Rex Heuermann. She serviced him over 20 times. She says Heuermann was a serial user, like a sex worker user, and sometimes multiple at a time. Rex's wife knew about what was going on. So there you go. Crazy, right? Absolutely nutty. Yeah, that's what's weird. It does bring Burke's name back into it, right? Like you start thinking, is Burke connected somehow? All right. So if you're out there and you'd like to help support the channel, that would be awesome. That way we could hit the goal on this show. Then I'll be back on later too. And the later show will be about we're going to do a Delphi show talking about what we think, what might happen tomorrow, and just everything in general about that. All right? But that'll be later tonight, probably like at 8:15 or 8:30 my time. Should be kind of late out there. But that would be awesome. Thank you. All right, so we got one more thing I was going to talk about. I think Heuermann, if all this stuff is true, I was going to talk about it, Danielle. If all this stuff is true, I think Heuermann might be, they need to go back for years to see any sex workers that are missing in the area. Let's see. Gotta get that sound. It was so quiet. Hey, thank you, your gypsy. Not my gypsy, but your gypsy. All right, so you have the whole Joran Vandersloot. He apparently, in those charges that he, was brought over here, he confessed to the murder of Natalie Holloway after all those years. Feel good for the mom. Hey, thank you very much, Allie79 and Cindy Leon. Yeah, I think this guy could, like I was saying earlier, could be one of the most prolific serial killers ever. I mean, just think about it for a minute. I mean, how many other places are there like Gilgo Beach? He probably filled that one up, and I mean, what about between 96 and 2010? That's just crazy, So anyways, I think this is the written portion of the confession by Joran Vandersloot. This is on Fox News channel, so I think this is it right here. Hey, thanks so much, Kathleen Kanik. Yeah, that's awesome. Alright, so let's just see what it says right here. The following is a transcript of a portion of a recorded interview of Joran Vandersloot. This portion is timestamped 21:43 to 25:48. Is interviewing JVDS during his portion. In the event any discrepancies are perceived between the original tape recording and the transcript, the recording will be the final authority. Plus, she asked to go to her hotel, but I go to her hotel, but I don't know what the accent is, I can't do. But I was just trying to get dropped off a little bit further away from her hotel so we could walk back to her hotel and I might still get a chance to be with her. And then Butler says, oh. Then Joran said, that's what I was hoping for. Okay, so then what happened? Yeah, and Deepak drops me off at another place, a little right of the Marriott Hotel known as the Fisherman's Huts. This place is not far from, the next hotel in the Marriott. And the next hotel after that is another Marriott, which is a timeshare. And then it's the Holiday Inn. We walk along the beach. All right. Do Deepak and Satish get out? Come with what? What happens? No, Deepak and Satish leave. And they leave. They go back to their home. I assume they go back to their home. They get in their car and they leave. I'm actually with Natalie walking along the beach. I find a space before we get to the Marriott Hotel where I lay her down. We lay down together in the sand and we start kissing each other. I get her to kiss me again and we start kissing each other and I start feeling her up again and she tells me no. She tells me she doesn't want me to feel her up, but I insist. I keep feeling her up either way, and she knees me. She ends up kneeing me in the crotch. Well, good for you, Natalie. When she knees me in the crotch, I get up on the beach and I kick her extremely hard in the face. Yeah, she's lying down, unconscious, possibly even dead, but definitely unconscious. And I see right next to her, there's this huge cinder block laying on the beach. Oh, Jesus. When you say cinder block, I'm looking at the walls of this place. It's like those, exact same cinder blocks. I see a huge cinder block laying on the beach. I take this, and yeah, I smashed her head with it completely. Man, Jesus. I mean, so let's say you didn't believe the kicking part, but now you have to believe the kicking part because this part here is about 10 times worse than that. Yeah, her face basically, collapsed in. Even though it's dark, I can see her face is collapsed in. Afterwards, I don't even know I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I decided to take her and put her into the ocean. So I grab her and I half pull and half walk her into the ocean. I push her off. I walk up to about my knees into the ocean. And I put her off into the sea. After that, I get out. I walk home. That's crazy. Jesus. Basically, exactly kind of what you would picture Joran Vandersloot doing back in the day, but he admits it now. Amazingly, that she didn't come to the shore or something. I'm not really sure about where he put her. Here's what I do. This is what I think. I think the whole story is true, except he didn't put her in the ocean. I think he buried her somewhere, and he doesn't really want to. I don't know. Shit. I mean, does it make sense that he put her in the ocean and she just disappeared forever, or just right there? I guess it depends on what the tides were doing and everything. But he's a known liar. Like, he just lies all the time. But you almost have to believe that part, though, that he smashed her in the head with a cinder block. Because who the hell would admit to that? It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. I think the part that might be a lie is that he put her in the ocean and she just floated away. He went up to his knees and she floated away. She didn't just float right back to the beach with the waves coming. Yeah, so to me, the rest of the story is, I wasn't going to believe the part about that she need him and this and that and the other thing. But then once he said, then he got a cinder block and smashed her head in with it. Or do you think he's just saying that sort of as a F you to the mom? Like, he killed her a different way, but he's just going to say even a worse, gruesome, I smashed her head in with a cinder block, and he didn't really do that. Yeah, I bet that's part of it, too, Daphne. For sure. Initially, he seemed to be a wealthy party boy in the wrong place at the wrong... I never thought that. I never thought he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. Because it was just like he was the last one to be with her, and they just couldn't prove it. And his dad made sure of that. And then you had that other event, right, Olivia? Then all of a sudden he's in Peru and he kills somebody. Then you know he killed Natalie at that point. Mm-hmm. Probably got a boat. Maybe she's in the ocean. Took a boat and put her way out there somewhere. Let's see. So I think I don't really have much more onto this portion. Oh, wait. You guys want to listen to that Shannon Gilbert 911 call? I can do that. Let's do that one.
Oh, 9, how can I assist you? Hello?
Now picture Rex Heuermann being
Hello?
around.
Hello, you dialed into the 911 system. How can I assist you? Hello?
Yeah.
Do you need the police?
Yeah.
Where?
That's good.
Where? Who's there with you? Hello? What's going on?
Well, there's somebody after me.
What?
Somebody after me.
Somebody is harassing you?
After me.
Who?
Can you trace where I am?
Let me talk to him.
Can you trace where I am?
Let me talk to him.
I'm by the Jones Beach.
You're at Jones Beach?
By the Jones Beach.
All right, let me connect you to state police. Stay on the line.
Why?
You got to talk louder to them.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
State police, Trooper Fry.
Yeah, Shannon Gilbert's the one that, she was a sex worker and, under strange circumstances disappeared, and it was the searching for her that led to the discovery of all the other sex workers that were murdered and killed and put on Gilgo Beach. So, just that alone is kind of weird, right? Another sex worker goes missing, and then looking for her, they find all these other sex workers on Gilgo Beach, right? And, I always thought she does sound like she's on drugs and everything here. But, man, the fact that you have a connection to Rex Heuermann with her, you kind of have to sort of recalculate everything. Hey, thanks, Brown-Eyed Girl and 655. I think you guys reached the goal. Thank you.
State police.
Yeah, there's somebody after me.
I'm sorry?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you?
Thank you, guys.
There's somebody after me.
Okay, where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you, ma'am?
I don't know.
You're driving right now?
No, I'm inside the house.
I'm sorry?
I'm inside the house.
What house?
I don't know. Can you trace where I am?
I'm sorry?
Can you trace where I am?
No, I can't. What's your callback number you're calling from?
Huh?
What phone number are you calling from?
Somebody's after me. Please.
Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County?
I'm in Long Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
No. 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 No, stop, no.
Where in Long Island are you? In Suffolk County? Nassau County?
Huh? Why? Why you call me by my name? Why?
County, you on the line?
Stop. Please. Stop it, please. Please stop. Please. Can you shut the door?
No, time to go.
Please. Please. Please.
Go that way, please. Come on, let's go. Come on, roll that side. Come on, go outside. Oh. Come on, all of us. Come on, over outside. Come on.
No, please.
Come on. Come on. Please, come on.
Please.
Come on.
Why? Why?
County, are you on the line?
Why? Why? Why are you guys doing this to me? Doing this?
What county are you in, ma'am?
Doing this? Why are you calling me by my name? Please. No, please. No.
Thank you,
No,
Circa
stop it,
then.
please. Stop it, please. Please stop it. Please stop it. No, stop it. Please stop it. No.
Let me fix that.
Please stop it. No, please stop it, please. Please stop it, please. No, what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to me? Stop it.
Please, get him out of here. What do you want?
No.
I'm going upstairs. You leave. I'm going to go upstairs. You leave. I'm going to go upstairs. Okay? You leave. Please. Get there. My hold. What's the matter? Are you okay?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? Why?
Huh? Well, I don't know, but it was transferred to me.
Why?
No.
Are you going to kill me?
It came into, I think it's Suffolk County on the transfer to the county won't answer me.
Why are you going to
Call Suffolk County.
You freaking miracle. Come on.
I'm in the middle of nowhere?
Let's go back to Manhattan. Right? We're in Long Island. We're out near the water.
Please, stop.
Me, Mike. Brother, come on.
No, stop it, please.
Oh, okay, fine.
Please, take my time to what, to dive?
I'm around near the water.
To dive? I didn't do anything.
631. 511.
Why? Mike, can you close that?
Some guy named Mike here.
Mike, why? Why? Why, Mike? For fun? For me? I'm never going to enjoy it again. Why? I never did. Mike, please. Mike, please. Please. Please.
There's something I don't know what phone she's calling from, but I transferred her back. Can you say where she's coming from? She needs help.
You're like, I'm going to find my way home.
It's something in the house with the female. And the female was the initial caller.
So this is all set up?
You set everything up? I waited for you. You told me you're going to find your way home. So I was like, what? You know, nothing that I found.
So this is all set up?
You never did this before.
Put it all set up?
Well, you're joking with me, right?
Why?
I don't know. Why are you doing that?
All right, I'll say I was lying.
You did?
Why?
But it's a 631 number.
Why?
Call back.
You can try talking to her, but she's not. I think she's got the phone down.
Please.
Hello? Hello?
Please.
What's the matter? What happened? Hello?
Please, get me out of here, Leif.
Hello?
You're being sarcastic about this. You were part of this all along.
I just met him just now. I told you after. I called this number.
Mike, please. I'm begging you. I just want to go home. Why?
Well, we can give them...
What's the phone?
573 9308.
Is that us?
What's going on?
I think so.
What? Yeah.
The extension answering. That's the number it came in.
Why are you sitting there knocking about this house then? Something's gonna happen to me.
There's nobody outside.
Yeah, you could call it.
You're okay, right?
But we're not going to know where it is. County should call it.
No, isn't that the county phone number?
Please.
Every time county 911 checks for something over.
Okay.
511 thing.
Get out of here. What's in the phone?
Oh, it does? Hot Suffolk? It's got to be Suffolk, right? Hello?
Stop it. Stop it, Mike.
Hello, where are you?
Huh?
Where are you?
What's going on there?
What's your name?
Where's the bathroom? I'll see it.
What's your name?
Shannon Gilbert.
What's your name?
Shannon Gilbert.
Where are you?
I'm in Long Island.
And Mike's there.
And what's wrong?
Huh?
What happened?
These people are plotting to kill me.
Where are you? What's your address? What's your address?
My address.
What's your address?
No, Mike, stop, Mike, here. Mike, stop. Mike, stop, Mike. Mike, stop it.
Where are you?
Mike, stop it. Mike, stop it.
What's your name, Shannon?
Huh? Mike, stop. Come here.
Where are you? What's your address? Hello?
You want to be in front of police?
Yeah, call them and then I know you tell the truth. The address.
What are we going to tell them?
Tell them something. Mike, stop it. You guys are planning something. Mike.
Where are you?
Mike.
We're fine then. Why are we all...
Are you in the house?
Yeah. Mike, stop it.
What town are you in?
In Long Island. Mike, it's...
Where?
Stop, Mike.
Where in Long Island?
Stop it, Mike. Mike, stop it. Mike, stop it.
Where in Long Island are you?
I don't know.
Hello?
You're gonna kill me.
Where in Long Island are you?
I don't know. They're going to kill me.
Are you in a house? Are you in a house?
Yeah.
Whose house is it?
I don't know.
Who is Mike? What's his last name? Mike what? How old are you? What's his last name? What's his last name? What's his last name? Shannon. Shannon. Shannon? Shannon?
Yeah.
What town? What town are you in? Hello? What's Mike's last name? Hello?
You're going to kill me, bitch.
One of the guys said, let's go back to my town.
Where are you? Where are you, Shannon? Shannon. Shannon.
1034.
1034, 963, Ray.
Shannon. I think that's her number. 9308 is one of our extensions, I think. Oh, did you call that one?
Shannon? Hello?
every time she comes.
There's a shield on the car.
1955.
Shannon? I wonder if she has a phone in her pocket.
Shannon. Shannon.
It's too bad just somebody didn't let her in.
Shannon.
What's the matter? Somebody here too? Huh?
Hello? Hello?
You alright? Don't get yourself hurt. Where are you going? Wait a minute. Where are you going?
Well, I think she was the victim, right? No, that was the other person. What was the story with... which one was Gilbert? Yeah, that was the second one. She had serviced the big man, convincing her the other phone multiple times. This is Shannon Gilbert. He gave Shannon an envelope and said, "This is for you to do what you want." I mean, God, it almost feels like, you know what it sounds like when you listen to that press conference today, is that there's a what do you call it? Like a ring of people. You know, and you wonder if the disgraced police captain or whatever the hell he was that got, you know, he was a I mean, look at that. He was a cross-dresser, and was he part of the same thing, and that's why nothing was figured out, because it would all led back to him, and he just kept... It's pretty weird. I mean, you know, this is one of those ones where a conspiracy is definitely something that is not out of, you know, it's not crazy to suggest it in this case. This is weird. Forgot his name, but yeah.
Something like Dopert, D-O-P-E-R-T.
I don't know what that means. Pure blood warrior. not an
He didn't
experiment.
sell it, but
You're stupid.
that's what it sounded like.
Oh God, what an idiot. Yes, everybody, if you're somebody who takes the vaccines out there, you're dumb, according to Pure Blood Warrior, because it's just an experiment. They don't know what it's really doing. Give me a break, all right? You sound like an absolute moron at this point. Yes, as I said the whole time, vaccines don't keep you from catching COVID. They just give you protection if you catch it. Okay, especially if you're older and you're older in life. Like when you're younger, you don't need to do anything probably, It's just, but when I'm 58 years old and I'm not, I'm just not feeling as greatest as I've ever been. And, for me, it feels like it helps protect you. Like when I got COVID, it was sort of a mild, just sort of lingered for a while because I got the rebound after I did Paxlovid. So kind of, but it wasn't really horrendous. I still did my shows every day and everything, People are just dumb. Like Pure Blood Warrior, just an absolute wacko. Go do something else. See you later. Find another channel. Yeah. So the thing is they don't keep you from catching it. They tried to sell it to everybody at first that it would keep you from catching it, but it didn't do that at all. Doesn't do that whatsoever, really. Let's see. Yeah, I don't care if you don't want to take a shot. I mean, if you want to roll the dice, you do what you want to do. I mean, everybody's rolling the dice, COVID was a man-made virus, and that's what's scary about it to me. It was man-made, manufactured by intentionally manipulating an already existing virus, put out and it made it into the world because it escaped from a lab in China. All right, and that's not some weird conspiracy theory. It literally happened. The FBI, that's what they believe. Okay, if you don't believe that, go look it up. Right? So that's what makes it kind of creepy. What's going on here? Yeah, well, good for you, Faith. But yeah, there's people out there that are just really anti-vaccine, and I don't, it's like it's kind of strange. There's absolute vaccines that keep you from catching people catching polio and all the other things, but apparently if they just have a good enough immune system, they won't catch it. Yeah, it's like, oh, really? Okay. Yeah, some people get lucky and they can handle specific things. Like if they get COVID, some people are asymptomatic, some people have symptoms that are mild, and some people have really severe shit. All right. So you might be one of the lucky ones. It has nothing to do with your diet or like, oh wow, I just have this really strong immune system that it's just pure luck. It's more genetic than anything to do with people always think when they take this and they take that, they have this super boosted immune system and they're so much, and it's just garbage. Yeah. Let's see. 59 and knew the very least it would protect me more than if I hadn't. Right. Well, that's it. I mean, that's it. That's all you're doing it for, is to give you, quite a bit of protection. It literally puts in the antibodies that you'll need if you catch it. Right. Yeah. Right. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show this afternoon. I'm going to try to come back on later, maybe around 8 o'clock or something, my time, which would be 11 East Coast time, and do a sort of a Delphi discussion and, what we might be seeing tomorrow. All right. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you to Paulette Leonard, Calamity Colleen, Tamara's favorites, Ali79, Danielle, Kathy Chapin, WNC Granny, Vintage Mom of 3, Lane Dune, Phony Pin, Sybil Bergeron, Caligal 3, Patricia Galindo, Ozzy Trisha, Your Gypsy, Ali79, Cindy Leon, Kathy Kanik, Brown Eyed Girl 714, 655, and Circa Then. Yeah, I always tell people, the people that try to this is what I don't like, all right? I don't think it's bad when people try to convince people to take the vaccine, because it overwhelmingly helps the population over hurts it. But when people go, oh man, and they try to convince you not to take it, that's what I have a problem with. You know, because that means if something bad happens to them and they didn't take the vaccine, it's probably on you. You know what I mean? So I would just shut the hell up, and if people want to do it, they can, right? Yeah, so anyways, thanks everybody. Oh, Gray, I thought you were smart, man. You sound like one of the... No, I'm just telling you, scientifically. Yes, there's people that have had crazy reactions, apparently. You know, those are really rare, though. They're not common. It does sound like a lot of these people knew each other. Yeah, well, I mean, it is kind of weird because New York's huge and there's a lot of sex workers, so it's strange that I think we're gonna find out. I don't think Rex Heuermann's going to trial for a long time. I think there is going to be a massive amount of other cases and things attributed to him. You know, I think he's got at least 15 people probably. I mean, I that's what I'm thinking. I just think there's going to be a ton more people associated with him. Yeah, nobody said to tell somebody they had to do anything in the bushes. See, that's where you sound like a moron, okay? You can't tell people that they're put in their bodies. It's their body. Let them be. Put your hand up if I told you that you have to go take a COVID vaccine. Anybody? Anybody out there? I haven't said one time to anybody. I just said that I don't disparage people for getting them, and I've gotten them. And if you don't want to take it, you don't have to. Okay? But it's just so amazing the idiocy of people when you talk to them, what they think you're saying when you didn't say anything. It's what people hear, what they want to hear. What happens is they hang out in the conspiracy, crazy little, wacko YouTube groups, and then they hear something. So when anybody speaks, if it isn't what they believe, they tell you what you said. Well, I don't care what you're tired of in the bushes. I've only talked about it for 10 minutes. Get the hell out of here. Go watch a different channel. You've been hidden. You'll never be able to communicate here again. You'll stay in the bushes, not here though. All right, anyways, thanks everybody. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you tonight. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Hope you found the show interesting. I did. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check-ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later. Be safe out there. Yes, I'll be back on later. We're going to talk about the Delphi case and what might be happening tomorrow.